Dear students, in my previous lecture, I told you about the electrostatics related with conductors. I told you some points. In that fifth point, you learned that electric field or electric intensity near a charged conductor, it is sigma divided by epsilon naught. You can prove this by using this Gauss law. Here you consider a charged conductor like this. So I want to find electric field at a point near the conductor or on the conductor. So this is the point P where I want to find this electric field. So to apply Gauss law, first you consider a Gaussian surface. You find the flux through the Gaussian surface and charge enclosed by it. Using Gauss law, by comparing those two, you can find the electric intensity. That is the standard procedure. So to find the electric field at this point P, we shall imagine the Gaussian surface in the form of a pillbox. Pillbox means a cylinder which has a negligible cross-sectional area but considerable length. It is called as a pillbox. So to find electric intensity or electric field at this point, let us consider Gaussian surface in the form of a pillbox or a cylinder, such that one end face of this pillbox encloses this point P, and another end face, it will be inside this charged conductor like this. So this end face A encloses this point P, and this end face B, it is inside the charged conductor. As there is a charge on this conductor, electric field is normal to the surface of the conductor. Therefore, this is the direction of electric field. So this is the direction of electric field here. Now, so to find electric intensity at P, imagine Gaussian surface as a pillbox such that one end face A enclose point P, another end face B lies inside the conductor. Now you find the flux through this pillbox. Electric flux through end face A, phi A. Electric flux to this end face A, it is given by E ds, where ds is area of this end face. A of area ds, you can consider it like this. End face A of area ds. So electric flux to the end face A, it is vector A dot ds. So it becomes E ds cos 0, because the angle between electric field and area vector, which is normal to the area, so it is 0. Therefore this phi A becomes E ds. Similarly, electric flux through N phase B, phi B, this is 0 because this N phase B being inside the charged conductor, as there is no electric field inside a charged conductor, there will be no flux. So since E is equal to 0, next electric flux through curved surface of a pillbox or cylinder. Phi C. Say if I consider this is to be the curved surface, it is also 0 because electric field is tangential to the curved surface. Or if I draw normal to the curved surface, angle between this E and area vector becomes 90 degree, since theta is equal to 90 degree. Therefore, total electric flux phi is equal to E ds. Next, I find charge enclosed by Gaussian cylinder or pillbox. Sig Q, this is equal to sigma ds. What is this sigma? It is the surface charge density on this area. So, since sigma is equal to Q divided by ds, this Q can be written as sigma ds. Next, from Gauss law, this phi is equal 1 by epsilon naught times the charge enclosed. So E ds is equal to 1 by epsilon naught. This Q is sigma ds. So you can strike off the term ds. Therefore, this E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. So this is the expression for electric field at a point near the surface of a charged conductor. This expression is true not only for a non-uniform distribution of charge like this non-uniform conductor. For any charged conductor, this expression can be used. For any charged conductor at a point on the conductor or at a point near the conductor, the electric field or electric intensity, it is given by sigma by epsilon naught. So, this electric field near the conductor, it is independent of amount of charge present, or it only depends on surface charge density, charge per unit area. This derivation can be asked for 3 marks in the examination. So if it is asked for the examination, you need to write only this much. So to apply Gauss law, first you consider a Gaussian surface. This Gaussian surface must be in the form of a pillbox. So through this pillbox, flux will be emerging normally only through this area of ds, through this end phase. Flux through this end phase is 0, flux through this curved surface is 0. Therefore, total flux is this much. If sigma is the surface charge density in this region, then the total charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface will become sigma ds. So from the Gauss law, on comparison of these two, you will get this particular equation. So this is all about electrostatics of conductors. The next one is dielectrics and polarization. See, insulators are called dielectrics. In insulators, there are two types. There are two types of dielectrics, polar dielectrics and non-polar dielectrics. See, these polar dielectrics, each molecule, in a polar dielectric, in each molecule, the center of positive charge and the center of negative charge do not coincide. So here, you take this HCl molecule. Here is a hydrogen atom, here is a chlorine atom. So because of asymmetry, the net negative charge is somewhere here and positive charge is here. So therefore, charge is equal, this is H plus and Cl minus. Charge is equal, but this positive charge on this hydrogen atom, it appears to be here, and negative charge on this chlorine atom appears to be here. So as there is no, so it will be like this. So this is hydrogen and this is chlorine, and as the centers of positive and negative charge do not coincide, this molecule acts like a dipole. So there will be a dipole moment in this direction. So P, it is in this direction. So these type of molecules are called polar molecules. Dielectrics having these type of polar molecules, they are called polar dielectrics. I already told you this point earlier. Similarly, see, in case of polar dielectrics, these polar molecules, they have permanent dipole moment like this. Permanent dipole moment. Another example, H2O. This H2O is a non-linear molecule. So this is the oxygen atom. Here is one hydrogen atom, here is another hydrogen atom. The centers of positive charge, that means centers of these two hydrogen atoms, positive charges do not coincide with the center of negative charge. Therefore, the center of positive charge of these two hydrogen atoms lies somewhere here, and this is the oxygen atom. So the dipole moment will be like this. So these polar molecules will have this type of permanent dipole moment. Similarly, you have another type of dielectric which is called non-polar dielectric. This non-polar dielectric, it consists of non-polar molecules. A non-polar molecule is one in which the center of positive charge and negative charge coincide. For example, you take this H2 molecule, or you take this CO2 molecule. You take this CO2 molecule. So in these type of molecules, here this is one hydrogen atom and here there is one more hydrogen atom. The center of positive charge and negative charge both will coincide. So this molecule as it is do not act like a dipole. So these molecules do not have any permanent dipole moment. Even if you take this carbon dioxide molecule, so this is oxygen atom and this is one carbon atom, this is another carbon atom. So the centers of positive charge and center of negative charge both will coincide here. Therefore, this molecule has no permanent dipole moment. So, dielectrics which possess these type of molecules, they are called non-polar dielectrics. So, in the absence of external electric field, these non-polar molecules do not possess any dipole moment. But when you keep them in external electric field, when a non-polar molecule is kept in external electric field, because of this electric field, the positive charge in this molecule, it gets displaced along the direction of electric field, and negative charge, it moves opposite to the direction of electric field. Because you learned that in an electric field, a positive charge experiences force along the direction of electric field, negative charge experiences force opposite to the direction of electric field. Because of this, the positive charge gets displaced in this direction, negative charge gets displaced in this direction. By how much they get displaced means the force on these two charges due to electric field, it becomes equal to the force of attraction here. Understand? So when you apply electric field on a non-polar molecule, the positive charge and negative charge get displaced till the force in this direction, it becomes equal to electrostatic force of attraction between them. So when these two forces becomes equal, there will be an equilibrium. Under this equilibrium, here this molecule gets a dipole moment like this. So this is called induced dipole moment. Why it is called induced means this dipole moment will be there as long as this electric field is there. So because of this electric field, this molecule, it acts like a dipole like this, and hence it gets dipole moment. The moment you remove this electric field, the dipole moment gets disappear. That's why it is called induced dipole moment. So, a non-polar molecule has got induced dipole moment only in the presence of external electric field. It has no permanent dipole moment. So, insulators having these type of molecules, they are called non-polar dielectrics. See, if you consider a polar dielectric medium like this. So, this is some polar dielectric medium. So, each molecule has got a permanent dipole moment like this. So, this is one molecule. So, in a polar dielectric medium, all these polar molecules, they will be oriented such that their resultant dipole moment will become 0. Due to thermal agitations, these polar molecules, they align themselves such that the dielectric medium has no net dipole moment. Because these molecules are oriented in such a way that the dipole moment of one molecule, it gets cancelled with some other molecule somewhere. For example, if you take this molecule, it has got dipole moment in this direction. Here there is another dipole here which has got dipole moment exactly in the opposite direction. So like this, dipole moment of each molecule will cancel with the other molecules. Therefore, here E is 0 and there is no dipole moment. P is also 0. And in case of non-polar dielectric medium, there is no permanent dipole moment at all. Now, a dielectric medium, when it is kept in external electric field, like this. when a dielectric medium is kept in external electric field, each dipole, it experiences a torque due to the external electric field, and it tends to rotate in the direction of electric field. So whether it is a polar dielectric medium or non-polar dielectric medium, whenever a dielectric medium is kept in external electric field, these molecules of this dielectric medium, they experience a torque and they get rotated in the direction of electric field. So when a molecule, due to the torque acting on it, when it aligns in the direction of electric field, it is said to be polarized. We come to this word now. So when a dielectric medium is kept in external electric field, due to the torque acting on each molecule, these atomic dipoles, they orient in the direction of electric field. Now this dielectric medium is said to be polarized. Polarized means these molecules, they align like this. These molecules align like this. Now this dielectric medium is said to be polarized. So when a dielectric medium is polarized, dipole moments of all the molecules will add up. See, this has got dipole moment in this direction, this also has got dipole moment in the same direction. So then there is a net dipole moment for the entire dielectric. There is a net dipole moment for the whole dielectric. So this net dipole moment for the entire dielectric, see, when E is not equal to 0, this P is not equal to 0. So due to dielectric polarization, this dielectric has got a net dipole moment. So here, for a linear isotropic dielectric, linear isotropic dielectric means a dielectric having linear molecules in which all physical properties in all directions is same. That is called a linear isotropic dielectric. Or otherwise, a linear isotropic dielectric is one in which the net dipole moment is directly proportional to electric field. The net dipole moment of the dielectric is directly proportional to electric field. Such a dielectric is called linear isotropic dielectric. So, when a dielectric is polarized, for a linear isotropic dielectric, P is proportional to E. Therefore, this P is equal to some chi into E. This chi, it is called electric susceptibility. See, you come across this word susceptibility even in magnetism also. So, to distinguish the susceptibility in case of dielectrics with that of magnetism, we represent this chi as chi E. So, this chi E is called electric susceptibility. So, this susceptibility, it is the ratio of dipole moment of the dielectric to this electric field. So, for a linear isotropic dielectric, polarization, see, this P is called polarization, or sometimes it is also called as polarization density vector. This P, Sometimes this is also called as polarization density vector or simply polarization. So polarization density vector means dipole moment per unit volume. So this P stands for net dipole moment per unit volume. So this P by E, it will give you electric susceptibility. This susceptibility, it is a measure of how easily a dielectric medium can be polarized. See here, as you go on increasing this electric field, these dipoles slowly turn in this direction and this becomes polarized. So how easily a dielectric medium can be polarized, that is measured in terms of this susceptibility. For a small electric field, if there is large polarization, then the susceptibility is said to be more. For a small electric field, there is large polarization, then susceptibility is said to be more, because it is easily polarized. So even after applying a large electric field, if the polarization is small, then susceptibility becomes small. That means it is difficult to polarize such a dielectric. So like that, how easily a dielectric medium can be polarized, that can be explained by means of this number, susceptibility. Next here, whenever a dielectric is polarized, if you consider dipole moment per unit volume, see, if I consider this volume of the dielectric medium, in this volume of the dielectric medium, the total charge is 0, because this negative charge of this dipole, it almost lies on the positive charge of this dipole. Similarly, this positive charge lies on the negative charge of this dipole. Therefore, the net charge in this region becomes almost 0, and there will be some bound negative charge this side, and also there is a bound positive charge this side. Because of this bound negative charge on this side, there is a negative surface charge density here, minus sigma, due to polarization, sigma P, and due to this bound positive charge, there is a positive surface charge density, that is sigma P. So whenever a dielectric is polarized, the charge on this entire region, it becomes almost 0. As you already know, in a dipole, though the net charge is 0, there is an electric field. Understand? Dipole, though the net charge is 0, still there is some electric field, because the charges are separated by some distance. So, if you consider this volume of the dielectric medium, the total charge in this region will become 0, but however, there is a negative charge on this side of the dielectric and a positive charge on this side of the dielectric due to polarization. Therefore, a surface charge density minus sigma P this side and plus sigma P this side. So, due to this dielectric polarization, there is an electric field in this direction, EP. Understand? So, a positive charge sigma plus sigma P is here, minus sigma P is here. Because of this, there is an electric field due to polarization in the opposite direction because of this applied field. Therefore, the net electric field, due to polarization E naught, it becomes E minus EP. So this E naught, it is less than E. That means whenever a dielectric is polarized, it decreases the net electric field, external field. So you have to remember this point, because this concept is used in working of capacitors. This concept is used in the working of capacitors. So in an external electric field, when you keep a dielectric medium like this, due to dielectric polarization, the net electric field decreases because of this mechanism. For example, in the Coulomb's law you learned that when a dielectric medium is used between two point charges, the force decreases. Why it decreases? Because of the same reason. See, here there is a charge plus Q, there is a charge Q1 here, there is a charge minus Q1 Q2 here. So there will be attractive force between them, like this. There is an electric field in this direction, positive charge to negative charge, and there is a force of attraction between them. When I use a dielectric medium here, when I use a dielectric medium like this, the dielectric medium decreases this electric field, that in turn decreases the interaction between these two charges, that is why the force get reduced. And that is how you have written that F is inversely proportional to epsilon r. So this epsilon r, which is called relative permittivity or dielectric constant, it can be defined only for insulators. So when insulators are used between two charges, because of this dielectric polarization, it reduces the field, it reduces the interaction, that's why the force decreases. So like this is the effect of dielectric in electric field. What is the effect of dielectric in an electric field? If it is asked for 1 mark in the annual examination, you have to mention this point. Introduction of a dielectric medium reduces the net electric field. So this is all about this concept of electric potential. So here we shall do some brain mapping regarding this one. In this topic electric potential, first you learned that whenever a charge is kept in the electric field, it has got potential energy. So this potential energy this is equal to work done in moving the charge from infinity to that point opposite to the direction of electric field without acceleration. So this potential energy is equal to work done, and this work done is nothing but charge into electric potential. See, we define the electric potential like this. Electric potential V is equal to potential energy per unit charge, that's why you got this equation. And from this we also defined this potential difference. Potential difference between 2 points is equal to work done in moving the charge from one point to another point opposite to the direction of electric field without acceleration. So electric potential is nothing but potential difference between infinity and the given point. The relation between electric potential and potential difference is electric potential is nothing but potential difference between infinity point and the given point in the electric field. So both are one and the same almost. Next you studied about electric potential for a point charge. So for a point charge, this electric potential is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r. Next you found electric potential for a dipole. So for a dipole it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught vector p dot r cap divided by r square. Remember, in case of potential or in case of potential energy, the power of R, it will be 1 less than that of force or field. See, in case of electric field, you will get R square in the denominator. In case of electric force or electric field, you will get R square in the denominator. But in case of potential energy or electrostatic potential, you will get R. Similarly, for a dipole, in case of electric field, you will get R cube. But whereas for potential, you will get R square. So in the denominator for potential, the power of R will be 1 less than that of force or field or potential. You keep that in mind, don't get confused. So for a dipole, this electric potential is given by P dot R divided by R square, or otherwise, so you can also write it as P R cos theta divided by R square. You can also write it like this. From this you can find the field on the axial line or equatorial line. So after this, you studied about this significant you studied about the equipotential surfaces. By using this equipotential surface, you derive this equation. E is equal to minus dV divided by dr. What is this R? This is the position vector. If you are considering one dimension, this can be written as dV by dx. If you are considering 3 dimensions, then this R can be written as xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. In 1 dimension, simply can write the dV by dx. In 3 dimensions, we write it as dr, where R is the position vector. See, sometimes you will be given potential and you will be asked to find the electric field, then you can differentiate like this. Next, you found the potential energy of a system of 2 charges, 3 charges, like that. So, for 2 charges, this U is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R. For 3 charges, you will get 3 terms. So the number of terms is given by n into n minus 1 divided by 2. That's what I told you. After this, you studied about potential energy in electric field. This is potential energy in the absence of electric field. This is potential energy in electric field. For a single charge, this U is equal to QV. For 2 charges or point charges, so this is Q1 V1 plus Q2 V2 plus this equation, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R. So here you also found the potential energy of a dipole. So U is equal to minus PE cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. When the dipole is moved, rotated from an angle theta 1 to theta 2, this is the equation. When the dipole is turned from normal to electric field. So in the electric field, when it is turned from theta 1 to theta 2, this is the equation. When the dipole is rotated by an angle theta from normal to the electric field, then the expression is minus P cos theta, which can be written as minus P dot E. So this is all about the potential energy and electric potential. After that you studied about electrostatics of conductors. That is properties of charged conductors. So electric field inside a charged conductor is zero. Electric field is normal to the surface of the charged conductor. Electric potential is constant inside, and there is no net charge inside the charged conductor. Next, E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught, and also these conductors, charged conductors, are conductors in presence of electric field. They can be used for electrostatic shielding. So lastly, you studied about this dielectric polarization. So from the dielectric polarization you learned that a dielectric medium always reduces the net electric field. You remember these things regarding electric potential. So based on these concepts, you shall take some problems in the next class.